morningswithbrant.com. Mornings with Brant.
So Renee sends us, and Renee's a guy, by the way. He's awesome. And he sends me this note, and Pablo intercepts it and gives his own opinion. But it was very welcome. And you beat me to the punch, to be honest with you.
Oh, did I?
No, in a great way. A wonderful way.
See what, this one here?
His boy is turning 13, and so he's doing one of these things where he wants to collect advice from guys about what it means to be a man and that kind of stuff. And he's going to give it to his boy, like put it in a book or something for him. So he's collecting emails from guys. So I thought I would ask the same question to you. If you had to give one piece of advice to a 13-year-old, and you're a guy, what would you say to him about what it means to be a man? Honest question. Pablo, you want to elaborate on what you said? Or you don't even have to elaborate, just say what you said.
Yeah. Well, I said some very candid things about it.
Well, I'm putting you on the spot here. I didn't mean to, but I know we've hit on this before.
I do want to make sure that I understand who's listening right now, and they're not all 13-year-old boys listening. Some of them are 7-year-olds. So I was just saying that you, as a boy, you're going to struggle with certain things, and you are going to be attracted to women, and make sure that you keep that under control. And so
you said it better.
I know, but I was very candid. I was talking to this 13-year-old's dad and saying, let me just tell you, here's what I wrote in it. You're a guy, you're going to find women to be very, all caps, attractive, and you're going to struggle with
Pornography. Yeah, go ahead.
It's just what we do as guys. Don't even start. Don't do it. Never even glance at it. Find some men you trust and share your struggles. The moment you share them, you weaken them. And when they're a secret, they have power over you. So that was it.
I like that. Don't even glance at it. Don't even go there. Don't even think about it. Don't have anything to do with it.
It's kind of like saying, well, I never want to start smoking. Well, never take a puff then.
Yeah, don't
even buy a pack of cigarettes. Don't even look at the cigarettes.
Had that same conversation with people over and over. Just don't even start the process. Don't even give it a chance.
You feed it. Every time you give that, every time you glance, you're feeding that.
Yep. So that's a big one, and that's a big thing. If you're turning 13 and you're a guy, can't underline that enough. I had another thought too. I'll tell you what that was too. We could share that, but I was just curious what you would say as a guy. Maybe you just echo what Pablo said, but if you were going to give advice to Renee's kid, and Renee listens online in Houston, Texas.
Find us online at morningswithbrant.com. Mornings with Brant.
All right, let's say you are 13 years old and you get the radio on, or you're just listening to this, you got no idea who we are. But we can say, as guys who are adults, who've learned things along the way. Just like Renee's kid was talking to him about turning 13 and what it means to be a man. What Pablo just said about don't even glance at it, don't even look at it, talk about stuff on the computer and stuff, is so right. It will drag you under. It will keep you from becoming the man that you need to be for the people around you. See, that's the problem with sin. In so many cases, what we call sin, it's not like random rules just to see how good you could stack up to God. That's not the basis for things. There's behaviors that will stop you from being who you need to be.
Yep, exactly right.
They will make you more impatient. They will drag the joy out of you. They will keep you from being courageous. They will isolate you from other people. They will replace something that's awesome and make it lame and cheap.
Somebody said something once I've been keying on a lot lately. Said, I forget how they phrased it, but it was more along the lines of, not only are you punished for your sins, but punished by your
that's
sins.
Exactly it.
Yeah.
That is precisely. It's like, and the people around you. See, your neighbors will never know. You're like, oh, I'm not hurting anybody. Well, sure, you're not even interacting with anybody. But see, you were supposed to be this person that had energy for others.
Yes.
And when you deny them who you are, so it's not just enough to think I live in a vacuum as long as I'm not hurting anybody else. You're stopping yourself from being who you're supposed to be.
It means missing the mark. You're missing the mark.
Exactly.
You're missing the pinnacle.
That's what
that
sin
place.
means.
That.
Yep.
Yeah, the image of God.
Yep. That you were aiming for. You're falling short of it.
That's just amazing. I've been following Jesus all these years, and for some reason, that recently has really clicked in my head.
Yeah.
Just that kind of, rather than it just being, oh, somebody outside of me will be God will be disappointed. this is affecting me directly. I mean, God tells us this for our own good.
And doesn't it make sense that he does it because he loves you? He loves you.
Yeah.
He wants you to be who you are supposed to be because he loves that thing that you're supposed to be, that person. And you're not allowing it to happen. So he hates that. He hates that stuff because he wants you to be you. And if you are dragged into this stuff, I'm telling you, man, it will suck the life out of you.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I would say that's a pretty good thing to say to somebody who's turning 13. In many cases, before it's too late.
Yeah. I said something to, it's actually my sister who's in her 50s. And I told her that, every guy struggles with that. She said, no. She's 50. And she said, no. I said, yeah, seriously. I would be willing to bet every guy struggles or has struggled at least to some degree with that issue.
Oh.
And she was shocked. She said, I never realized.
Well, that's a good thing for people to be aware of. Hey there.
I would say, thing I want to tell my son is being able to say no and standing by your no. Like, if you stand for something and you mean it, and someone's trying to get you to go, beyond what what you stand for, like something you don't stand for.
Right.
Just to be able to say no. Like, I mean it. I'm not going for that, and I'm gonna stick by it.
You're always welcome to join the show. Text us at 66937. Keyword Brant. Mornings with Brant.
Here's what I wrote to Renee. I just seconded what Pablo said for Renee's boy turning 13. And I've said this on the air before, too, but I just thought, well, I'll say it again for this 13-year-old. You have a role to play, quote-unquote, as a man. It is a role you were made for as you are created in the image of God. You are to take care of the vulnerable, the outcasts, the least of these, the weak, the tiny, the old, the poor, the unpopular. That is being a man. God is a, quote, champion of widows and a lover for the scorned and a father to the fatherless in Psalms. If you want to be godly, you will do this too. And you can do it now, starting with the outcasts at school or the people that you deal with. The heart of God is for these people, and the essence of being a man is to honor the weaker, and that includes women. Abusing, mistreating, ignoring women, the vulnerable, the outcast, all these people, that is a betrayal of manhood. That is an absolute rejection of who you were supposed to be, because God's heart is for these people. If you're going to be a godly man, your heart is going to be for them too.
Hang out with us after the show, during the show, or anytime on Facebook at facebook.com/morningswithbrant.
You've been reading these texts, Pablo. You've been reading these.
Absolutely have.
Multiple texts from teenagers, and it's not just guys, by the way, written in about what we were talking about advice you'd give a 13-year-old boy. And one of a young man, one of the things Pablo said, which I echoed, and so many listeners have too, is you got to stay away. Don't even go there with pornography. It'll stop you from being the man you're supposed to be. And here's one 16-year-old. I've never told anybody about my problem with this, so he's telling it via text to the radio station. But there's multiple people like that on here.
There's somebody, 14, we'll just say, 14, says, now I've almost kicked it, but it's only because I told somebody.
Talk to somebody.
Yeah, I talked to somebody about it, and I can't emphasize that enough. As soon as you start to share that and somebody else knows and somebody else can check with you, how you doing, man? How's it going? How's the struggle? How's the battle?
Right.
Then it so weakens it.
And if you know, they're going to ask you about it.
Yes.
That is a huge help for people. Now, here's the thing, too. It crosses into another subject area, which is, why do I have to go to church? I understand that question. And, I sort of do. I don't understand go to church. I don't understand that concept, because the church is people. And when you get together with people, that's the church, man. If you get together specifically to encourage one another, to talk about that kind of stuff. By encourage, it literally means spur one another on to do the right things, to do things like that kind of conversation. That's the church in action. So if you're thinking, well, I can just be by myself, no, you can't. You will suffer. You need somebody you can talk to get this kind of thing out in the open. I plead with you, if you are among the people who are texting us, or you didn't text us but you're thinking the same thing, you need to talk to somebody who has some maturity in the faith about it, and get it out in the open, And oftentimes what happens is the power is destroyed, the guilt is destroyed, because the person goes, oh, yeah, me too, and let's keep working on this together. We'll ask God for to guide us. He's already forgiven us for it. Let's move on. Get over this. There are resources online too. I highly recommend XXXchurch.com, xxxchurch.com. We talked about them on the air before. But very important. They offer a variety of filters and discussion, and that's a place too that you can talk about this. XXXchurch.com.
Mornings with Brant. Morningswithbrant.com.